Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:07 on this Friday in your nation's capital. You've made it to the middle of August. The dog days are almost behind us, and, well, I guess everyone gets to work in September in this town, but we're working. Coming up in 30 minutes, Jonathan Fahey, former acting ICE director, will give us his expert opinion on how ICE is now going to be coordinating with the D.C. police and whether that'll last past Donald Trump's 30-day window. 8:05 brings us C.J. Pearson, commenter, analyst, and social media influencer. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it.
It is, in fact, a Friday, and we have, in fact, made it. And it's not going to be a summer vacation-style weekend for the president or his foreign relations team, though. They're going to be working intensely up in Alaska. I guess up and over in Alaska, more accurately. A senior research fellow, Brent Sadler at the Heritage Foundation. He's also Naval Warfare and Advanced Technology, Allison Center for National Security there at Heritage Foundation. So he knows a thing or two about our adversaries and about the war going on right now in Eastern Europe. Brent Sadler, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning.
Good morning to you. I was actually stunned that President Trump, at a press conference earlier this week, said that he expects at the end of this meeting with Putin to walk away with a ceasefire and an end to the military hostilities that we've seen since the second year of the Biden administration. So he's sort of raised the bar. He's, usually you want to lowball it. You want to, lower the expectations. But as far as he's concerned, if he doesn't get an end to this thing, he's going to come down hard on Putin. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, some troubling rhetoric coming out of Moscow and Putin, a bait and switch kind of sense of things. He's talking about perhaps nuclear arms limitation deals, but he's not really talking about really why Trump's getting on an airplane and traveling many hours over to Alaska to meet him, and that is to end the war in Ukraine. If Putin does that, I don't think the meeting is going to go very well. Trump's made very clear the only reason he's meeting him is, serious commitments to end the fighting in Ukraine. And I don't think there should be any relief, any expectation relief on sanctions, secondary sanctions, until real tangible progress is made there.
A lot of critics are saying that this is a bad setting and a bad format because Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is not involved in these conversations. Is that a legitimate criticism, or is it more important to actually get these two superpowers talking? Because otherwise they'd continue waiting. Putin's not going to sit with Zelensky. He doesn't want to have that meeting. He's not interested in this meeting. So is it more important to have any meeting, even if it doesn't involve one of the parties?
No, I don't think that's a good or realistic criticism. I mean, it's going to take, pressure. It's going to take engagement of all the parties to get them to basically navigate some very complicated and challenging paths ahead to a ceasefire and end to this war, a sustainable end to this war. So President Trump's engaged Zelensky directly. He's going to have to engage Putin directly. And then I think when the time is right, and it looks like both parties are willing, we know Zelensky now is willing and sincere. It didn't come very smoothly. Remember, the White House dust up. But now it's Putin's turn. The pressure is being turned up, perhaps a little delayed, but it needs to be applied and continue to be applied until Putin sincerely enters into ceasefire. And then when the specifics are starting to be haggled about, where the new frontier will be between these two, Russia and Ukraine, of course, Zelensky's got to be there. He's one of the belligerents. If both parties don't agree, there's no peace.
Well, to that point, when we look at the demands that each side has, both Russia and Ukraine, I mean, Russia obviously wants to get to keep occupied territory. They want Ukraine to demilitarize, and then from the Ukrainian side, I'm sure they want their land back, and also kind of this campaign against children and POWs that Russia has claimed Ukrainian children. Do you think think that President Trump will be able to find enough common ground between all of these different demands, particularly when it comes to land? I mean, it's either you keep the land or it goes right back. Do you think that President Trump is able to find kind of a sweet spot that both sides could agree to?
I wouldn't characterize it as a sweet spot. It's going to require compelling and pressure. The Russians, true to form, have taken a maximalist approach. They know their demands are ridiculous. They know that they don't have a lot of ground, so to speak, on this. But they make that in the hope that they'll get more for nothing and through negotiations. And so better is to see what actually the reality is on the ground, what can realistically be achieved through force of arms. Not a whole lot left there on either side. This is once the fighting is out of both bloodstream, so to speak, then you can deal with the reality of where that line in the ground is going to be and start to give and take in the territories. But again, it's got to be defensible. Ukraine cannot give up, the high ground and defensible ground that the Russians are not going to be able to take. Giving it up through negotiations would be tantamount to waving fresh meat in front of a hungry tiger.
The Trump administration's Trump administration has been engaged in a lot of negotiations over trade deals and tariffs with our European allies and other interested parties here. It hasn't been explicitly said, but one must presume that the European Union and the UK have tried to tie strings to the tariff and trade deals connecting to America's ongoing support for the military effort. Are we all on the same page right now, ostensibly, Europe, the U.S., and Ukraine, with regard to their stance against Putin?
No, I'd actually say it's the Trump administration that's actually using tariffs and economic pressures to get the Europeans to start to pay up their fair share in defense. In this case, actually, some of that relief is probably coming through the forms of procurement of U.S. weapons that then go to Ukraine. So it's forcing the Europeans to put more money into the defense of Ukraine. And it's important to note that for far too long, European countries, overly reliant on Russian oil, have, even after Putin's invasion of Ukraine, continued to spend significant amount of money, oftentimes more than they do provide in assistance to Ukraine, right into Russia's coffers to buy their oil. So I think the pressure, the tariffs need to be looked in the context of trying to get the Ukrainian or trying to get resources and money from Western European countries rather to going to Russia to go into Ukraine.
Yesterday we saw President Trump talk about, or maybe Wednesday, talk about the severe consequences that Russia would face, if Putin doesn't agree to an agreement. Can you talk through what some of those severe consequences could be? I mean, Larry just asked from the trade perspective, kind of squeezing Russia economically, but what do you foresee as other consequences?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very wise that the president doesn't show his cards at all and keeps them very close to his chest. I think that's smart negotiation, smart diplomacy. That being said, I think what's gotten Putin's attention is the pressure on his allies and partners and customers. India, secondary sanctions and tariffs that are tied to their continuing to buy huge amounts of Russian petroleum. I mean, they grew fivefold the amount of oil and trade that they do with Russia after the February 2022 invasion of Ukraine. So that's India. China has tried to resist any kind of visibility on the type of material support, which is now an open secret that they've been providing quite a lot of industrial support and material and certainly financial as a customer, again, of Russian oil, the largest, to sustain Russia's war machine. Cutting and pressurizing Russia's customers and partners is what is going to break Putin's war machine. And that is what Trump is now doing. And it is why Putin is flying all the way from Moscow, which is even further away than D.C. to Alaska, to meet in U.S. territory.
Brent Sadler, Heritage Foundation, Naval Academy graduate, and like all great Navy officers, he was assigned to a submarine. A boomer or fast attack, Brent?
Yes. All right. Thanks.
Were you on a boomer or a fast attack?
I had to do both. The fast attack's actually where it's at, but the boomer, you have to do at least one tour in your Navy career.
Yeah, that's my daughter's on a boomer right now. She graduated in 23. So yeah, she's pining for a fast attack. She likes those weapons better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like the difference between driving a bus versus a Porsche.
Oh,
Thanks,
wow.
Brent.
Thank you,
Take
Brent.
care. Go Navy. It's 7:15 WMAL.